And joining me now is Trump campaign senior advisor Jason Miller. Jason Miller, welcome back to Meet the Press. We should note the White House would not provide a doctor or a senior White House official to offer an update on President Trump's condition. So, Jason, I hope that you are prepared to do that. So let me start with this. Have you spoken to the president in the last 24 hours? And if so, what is his condition?
I have, Chuck, and good morning, and thank you for having me on. Spoke with the president yesterday afternoon, and he's in very good spirits. Both Bill Stepien, the campaign manager, and I spent about a half hour on the phone with the president and going through all the updates on what's going on with the campaign. And really, the president said a couple of things. Number one, that he's going to defeat this virus, that as a nation, we're going to defeat this virus, and our campaign is going to defeat this virus. And once he gets out of the hospital, he's ready to get back to the campaign trail. He sounded pretty energetic. But he said something else that I thought that was important, too, Chuck, and that was to be careful. And that was to remind folks to wash their hands, use hand sanitizer, make sure that if you can't socially distance to wear a mask. And I thought that was a pretty important message to send and a reminder to the rest of the country.
I wonder if you could help us sort out a bit of the timeline. And I know that some of this is fast, but can you say for certain when the president started feeling ill? Was it Tuesday? Was it Wednesday? Was it Thursday?
So I can't speak to that, Chuck. What I can speak to is what we've seen from the reports that the president did receive his positive test on Thursday evening. That's what I know for sure. And obviously I saw the report from Dr. Conley and from Dr. Dooley yesterday in front of Walter Reed Hospital. And again, having spoken directly with the president and saying that he felt very well, and he was very animated in our half-hour-long conversation and ready to get back out to the campaign trail. So I think that they're doing the smart thing here. They're taking this very serious. He's the president of the United States. When you think about the West Wing, really the West Wing operates to support the president of the United States. And so by having him at Walter Reed, I think that's smart. I think that's a good cautionary move since he is the president. And again, we got to get him healthy, and then we're going to get the rest of the country healthy and defeat this virus.
If he was diagnosed with this virus on Thursday and he's hospitalized less than 24 hours later, that doesn't happen with most COVID patients. How much of this is precaution, and how much of this is he's having a tougher bout than most people?
Well, I think they're taking a very precautionary move on this. Again, I can't speak to the exact symptoms or exactly what transpired on Friday, just since I'm not part of White House operations and I'm not part of the White House medical unit. But I do think that it was smart that they moved him to Walter Reed Hospital because, again, he's the president of the United States. And even though we have a very strong structure that's built around the president, Vice President Pence is ready to help out whenever need be. The good thing is that President Trump has been able to be in control and be in charge the entire time. And again, going back to my conversation with him yesterday, number one, he expressed thanks and gratitude to everyone there at Walter Reed. He was very appreciative for the folks who showed up outside to cheer him on. But again, it's that spirit that we have to go and take this head on. And that's one of the things, Chuck, is that as president of the United States, look, he could have stayed upstairs at the White House the entire time, but that wouldn't have been the responsible thing to do if the doctor recommendation was to go to Walter Reed. And so you can't, whether it's upstairs or whether it's down in the basement, you got to take this seriously, and I think they're doing the smart thing.
We're trying to figure out, though, is who should we take seriously here, the president's doctor or the president's chief of staff? Mark Meadows indicated that his vital signs weren't very good on Friday, that he ended up having to be on oxygen. The doctor said something else, and you're saying something else. You're sort of painting a picture that things weren't that serious on Friday. Mark Meadows did. You understand why there's so much confusion about the president's condition right now?
Well, and Chuck, I don't think I'm painting any sort of picture with regard to Friday because, again, I'm not part of the White House medical unit. I can't speak to Friday. What I can speak to is having spoken with the president directly at length yesterday, on Saturday, getting an update on his condition, how he's feeling, how he's looking forward to get back out. He's excited that we came up with our Operation Mega to get all of the vice president and the first family and people all around the country out there, and that he looks forward to getting back out. So that's what I can speak to. And I also, like many Americans, I saw the press conference yesterday with Dr. Conley and Dr. Dooley updating us to the president's condition. So that's what I can speak to. Friday, I can't. Okay. But the good thing is the president's feeling better, and he's anxious to get back out there.
Can you explain why the president did not quarantine the second he heard about the Hope Hicks diagnosis, and why you guys went on for a fundraiser in New Jersey Thursday night? Clearly, that was against CDC guidelines.
Well, it's important to keep in mind that anybody around the president is tested, and not only tested for COVID with a rapid test, but they have their temperature checked. At any of these events, folks are kept back from them by 6 feet. That's the update from the fundraiser that they had, and so people aren't getting that close to the president. But again, the president did not have a positive test yet, and so as soon as it did have a positive test, then of course went to a different level of protocol, and they took the precautionary measure to take him to Walter Reed, and now he's doing much better, and that's the important thing.
So what you're saying is the White House does not follow CDC guidelines, because the CDC guidelines would have meant no, he would have quarantined somebody who's as close of an aide as Hope Hicks testing positive. He should be quarantining. That's the CDC guideline. But it sounds like what you're saying is the White House does not abide by CDC guidelines?
What I'm saying is I'll let the White House, both White House operations and White House medical unit, speak to the exact particulars. But what I know is that anyone who's around the president is tested, that they have their temperature taken, that they keep back at least. I mean, I'm never within 6 feet of the president, even when I'm around him. So they take a lot of seriousness in these precautionary measures. And
are you upset that you were exposed in a way that maybe that was lax protocols? I've talked to other people, by the way, close to this White House, who are not happy about the lack of information and are not happy that basically what was told to them was a safe place turned out not to be.
No, not at all, because I know that every time that I'm around the president that I have a test taken, that everybody around me has a test taken, that they do our temperature check. We take this very seriously. I always keep at least 6 feet away from the president, that we keep a certain level of distance. And so I feel like the White House does a very good job of protecting folks and going above and beyond. But here's the important thing, Chuck. There's a lot about this virus that we don't know. President Trump is arguably the single most protected person on the entire planet, and yet he got COVID. So there's a lot about this we don't know. But what we can't do is just stay, whether it's upstairs of the place or downstairs in our basement. We have to take this virus head on, Chuck. We have to go, as we've seen from President Trump in developing these therapeutics and getting to the vaccine, getting the ventilators. We have to take this head on. We can't stay in our basement or shut down the economy indefinitely. We have to take it head on. And I think that's the moment of what President Trump is doing right now.
Now, I'm curious, is the campaign, are you guys going to change protocols? You hold a lot of it. You encourage people not to socially distance. You have events with no mask. I mean, we saw the Supreme Court rollout on Saturday. Turned out it might end up being a super spreader event. Is the campaign going to change its protocols? Are you going to insist on mask wearing? Does the campaign regret that its own staffers and family didn't wear masks during the debate?
Well, I'll go back to what I said earlier, is that anyone around the president is always tested, not just with the Abbott rapid test, but also with a temperature check. But at all of our events, we do temperature checks. We pass out masks. We pass out hand sanitizer. We encourage people to wear them. I think everybody, if they can't social distance, just like President Trump told me yesterday, Chuck, said, Jason, I want you to make sure that you tell people two things. We're going to defeat this virus, and then also be careful. If you can't socially distance, wear a mask, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. These are the message coming from President Trump, and he wants to make sure that everybody knows that.
I saw that the Vice President Pence is going to have a full campaign schedule this week. Why do you believe that that's prudent with the president currently hospitalized with the virus, that for continuity of government reasons, should the Vice President be traveling? Shouldn't he be mitigating risk of getting this virus? Shouldn't you guys be asking for a remote debate, for instance? I mean, wouldn't that be what's best interest of continuity of government for the United States of America?
No, we're in a campaign. We have a month to go. We see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris out there campaigning. Certainly, they're not asking for a remote debate. Vice President Pence is following the debate for the vice presidential candidates on Wednesday. He'll be hitting the trail, be in Arizona, he'll probably be in Nevada. He'll be back here in D.C., and he's going to have a very full, aggressive schedule, as will the first family, Don, Eric, Ivanka, and then we have a number of our supporters, our coalitions, Black Voices for Trump, Latinos for Trump, Women for Trump. The whole Operation Mega will be deploying everywhere.
So you have no concerns?
The Vice President and I have no concerns at all. Vice President takes very serious all of these measures. Anyone around the Vice President are tested. People are kept very safe. And again, we can't hide from this virus forever, Chuck. We have to take it head on. And we have to reopen our economy. And we got to develop this vaccine and defeat the virus.
Very quickly, are those Trump family members going to be campaigning before their 14-day quarantine?
Well, we'll initially start with virtual events. In fact, I believe we're going to have a couple of the family members tomorrow night on Monday. We're going to have a big virtual event, or kind of our first virtual rally. So make sure folks are going to the website and checking out when that's going to be coming on board. And then as soon as they're able to get back out there in person, we're going to do so. But I expect us to have upwards of 50 folks all around the country flooding the zone in the battleground states later this week, Chuck.
Okay. Trump campaign senior advisor Jason Miller with an update on the president's condition and on the status of the campaign. Jason Miller, thank you for coming on and sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Hello from Washington, I'm Chuck Todd, and thanks for checking out the Meet the Press channel on YouTube. Click on the button down here to subscribe and click over here to watch the latest interviews, highlights, and other digital exclusives.